Like the dragon, Dragon Ball Z. Dragon, dragon, like the dragon, come get me.
Hey guys, what's up? It's 2-Bit Jesus here, and on today's episode of the 2-Bit Podcast, we're going to be reviewing an older movie, Dragon Ball Evolution. Can't believe you guys convinced me to rewatch this movie. And with me today is Nelson.
Hey guys.
And Blake.
Hi.
And Blake, you were saying earlier about characters with the movie?
Well, I'm saying presently about characters in the movie. Yeah, and I think that's a good way to, kind of flesh out, any movie is, like what did you identify with any characters? Were there characters? And I think this movie doesn't really have characters other than like the absurdity of Chow Yun-Fat's role, which he really seemed to know the kind of disaster he was in.
Yeah.
He seemed to know what was going on more than any other character.
Yeah, he seemed to know. He seemed more relaxed too, I think, and he's like, "This is going to be a disaster anyway. I might as well just try to have some fun with this." That's what I came off in the scenes I saw him in, where he was just doing over the top kind of in some of his scenes. But I will say this: of all the characters, they got none of the characters right from the source material. Goku,
I'm almost think it's not fair to compare it to the source material.
I will say this, except for the guy who played Yamcha, I felt like that was how Yamcha would react in most. The guy who played Yamcha was the only one who was true to his anime and manga counterpart. And then, of course, Piccolo, but it's not hard to do Piccolo. You just have to be stoic and serious all the time.
Is it hard when you only have 10 minutes of screen time?
Yeah. But
Nelson, I think you had some thoughts about Yamcha.
I did have some thoughts about Yamcha. He was the guy. It was a voiceover. It wasn't even the same guy talking.
Oh, I thought so because there was a scene where they're like going off a cliff or something in that Humvee, and he's like talking, but his voice isn't. You don't hear his voice, and then his voice comes in like a second later, and I thought it was like an overdub mistake in editing. It was really weird. It was like, I think it's when they were heading towards Piccolo and his assassin lady person.
It might have been May from the series.
That's what I was thinking. It was May. And I'll just say this about. I wanted to tell you guys this about the plot. Essentially, I really feel like a lot of people think that this movie was just like a bastardization of Dragon Ball, which it was in a lot of respects, and that they didn't pay any attention to the source material. But after watching this movie, I really feel that they tried to, kind of like, with, say, Batman v Superman, where they've tried to rush and create, their own cinematic universe. I felt like this movie was trying to rush the entire, I would say, first half of the original Dragon Ball series and put it all into one movie.
Well, when you take away all the character moments, it doesn't feel like it's just bastardization of the entire film.
Yeah.
They just watch every single one of the characters to the point they wanted to. With Goku, it's like his main motivation was training, getting stronger in the series, putting everything before that, and in this movie it was like, oh, I gotta protect this chick. I gotta protect the world. When Goku doesn't do that, he's selfish.
Yeah.
He's a selfish character that wants to get stronger, get better than everyone. And in this movie, just like, I gotta protect this chick who, in the series, he had no real connection with, other than making that promise that he was gonna marry her.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel that I agree with you there. I felt like they got especially his character was way wrong. It was just like the only thing that was like accurate about his character was that he lived in the mountains with his grandpa. But after that point, it was just kind of like, It was terrible. What I mean is, like, if you look at it narratively wise, like where are we going from here? Okay, you know, they did the whole searching for the Dragon Balls with Bulma, and they meet up with Yamcha, and he's training with Master Roshi, and then he fights. He kind of like sits there and hangs out at the tournaments, meets Chi-Chi. There was no Krillin. He was missing. A lot of the characters were missing. And he faces Piccolo, and then he defeats Evil King Piccolo. And I felt like they just kind of rushed all the way. It's like, hey, let's, you know, just rush it all the way until it almost seemed like maybe they were going to want to launch into Dragon Ball Z stories in their sequel, because, you know, it hinted at a sequel at the end of the movie. So I didn't say they did a stupendous job doing this, because I think they did a fucking terrible job. But I could at least maybe see where they were trying to go. But the train didn't even leave the station; it just exploded.
Well, they seem to try to make this movie by making all the wrong turns at every single instance they could.
Yeah,
with every single character, even Bulma, Yamcha seemed like the only one that was kind of based on it. Because in the series, his motivation was money. He was a bandit.
Yeah, he was a bandit. And this one, they tried that. I will say that was the one thing that was wrong with him. I felt like he was more like of a thief and not a fighter, where he was a bandit, but also, if I remember correctly, in the original series, he was a decent fighter, right? And in this one, he doesn't do any fighting at all.
He kills
a rock wall with the drill.
I just can't. And then what was up? It's supposed to be a great big ape, and it ends up Goku turns into the fucking werewolf. You know, it's just the man beast. He turns into a man beast. What the hell?
And that's the whole movie. That's the whole thing the movie relied on Goku actually tapping back to his humanity.
Which it kind of, another thing that really messed with my mind. Okay, the movie opens up, right? Piccolo came to the Earth before and destroyed it like 2,000 years, right? Ago. And Goku was there with them, but then yet Goku is still young. And I just felt like there was a huge plot hole there. You know, and then like at the end, Piccolo has the big reveal of, oh, you landed on this planet and lived with the humans. But
there are other things, like how did Piccolo escape his imprisonment, which was one of the other plots at the beginning. It's like like they told you, Piccolo was in prison.
Yeah.
How did he get out? Wouldn't that have been fun to watch? Another one is like
I like how
that Piccolo controlled. It's like how he came about. It wasn't always Goku. Who was it before that?
I mean, like nitpicking like these little things is almost fruitless in light of something that is such a monumental. It's like an alien planet with its own gravity.
Yeah.
And how it has pulled everything into its orbit.
I made this mental...
like you have to just wonder from the first idea to its execution. This is almost like a willfully bad movie. It is almost worse than a sci-fi original movie in its execution.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
This is made in 2009. Its CGI looks like it could have been made in like 1989. That's not true. At least like 1995 to 6.
Yeah.
I guess even Terminator 2 had like better CGI than this, but I'm guessing had a bigger budget than $30 million.
I kind of have like a theory about like why Terminator 2 CGI holds up. It's because it's like showing something that, you know, isn't in reality. So it's like you don't have like a reference point. But when you see like a freaking Hummer grow rocket pads out of its wheels
wreckage
and then lurch through the air, it's kind of hard to feel the weight of it.
Oh, I made a mental note of this at the beginning. But the opening scene, the guy who plays Gohan, the way his voice sounded, and then just the way the whole beginning of them like training reminded me of Three Ninjas. The relationship between the grandpa and Three Ninjas and the boy. Do you guys remember that movie? Like he sounds exactly like that grandpa, like his voice does. And I don't know, through the whole movie, that I was just thinking of that, and also thinking of how much better of a movie Three Ninjas is compared to Dragon Ball Evolution.
Even though that really old guy who was in great shape, like, put on a ninja gi later in the film and was doing ninja things.
Yes. Oh God. But yeah, it was. It just like I said, Yamcha, the guy who played Yamcha, or the character Yamcha, was the only one that was somewhat resembled his anime and manga, counterpart. Goku was way off. Goku had low self-esteem and shit in this one, from what I remember at the beginning of the movie, and I'm like, that would never be Goku. Goku's never had any self-doubt.
He's
Self-assured.
like when he went along with the Cell Saga, that was the high point of Goku being selfish. He wanted a bigger fight, but he knew he couldn't win, so he let the bigger fight go on to his son, who could overpass him. Again, now with the Battle of the Gods, he wanted to fight the god, even though like Beerus, he knew he was more powerful than him. But he still went along with it, along with the Frieza, with the Resurrection F. With that, he tried to let Frieza go so he could get a better fight out of him.
The reason he fought Cell first was so Gohan could see all of Cell's moves. It was selfish, yes, but also I think the Cell Saga was a strategic move, if I remember correctly.
Well, in the series, it was supposed to be this arc where to see Goku pass the torch to Gohan.
Yeah.
But
Gohan
after
was
that,
always meant to be the strongest.
It was just Goku being selfish, and like literally, like his last, the last thing he could do was just die and cheer on Gohan.
Yeah.
Instead of,
Yeah, okay, but we're not talking about Z. We're talking about evolution.
Yeah, we're talking about. I know we want to get on something that's better, but
Like, how does this relate to this character? This
yeah.
high school geeko.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. Is he's nothing like that character. He's very not self-assured. Because even when Goku was like a young boy and didn't know a whole lot, he was still very self-assured. Where this one's not. I get it. They were trying to make him westernized. They were trying to make it palatable to the American audience, and I guess they forgot that even at the height of its popularity, Dragon Ball was a niche market.
So, the motive for Goku to fight in this movie, to me, seems like his erection. Just wanted to protect Chi-Chi.
What?
That was it.
Oh.
His entire reason for fighting and protecting anyone was he just wanted to get laid and be popular.
Well, there's that too, but he also, in this one, he wanted to avenge his grandfather Gohan.
That's true as well.
That was one of his main motivations, but
Also made a deal with Bulma.
yeah, like I felt like that's where I felt like they were trying to rush things, because it did feel like they the guy who wrote the script even said he phoned it in and he just was collecting a paycheck, and he apologized to
He
the
said
fans.
it was a low point in his creative career.
Yeah, so I mean he's apologized, but even with that said, I really do feel like they were just trying to like freaking slingshot that thing and kind of cover a lot of ground. That's how this movie feels. It feels like, oh, you watch some of the first few episodes and you watch some of the King Piccolo saga, and then you filled in the blanks and wrote your own story.
Well, we're missing some of the points from like the series, which was King Piccolo was past his prime, challenge and to get his youth back to control the world.
Yeah.
And this was pretty straightforward. He wants to control the world. He's not young anymore, even though he spent
Wait,
2,000...
this was straightforward?
No,
it wasn't.
No. Piccolo, how much time did he have? Maybe 20 minutes? 20 minutes screen time? There was no really...
Like, this movie presented, like, 3 different threats that were apparently happening at the same time. And we never even learned how Piccolo got out of his prison, which was the entire point of the prologue. He gave no time to understand.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it was. It was like they mentioned the story, and then he just kind of pops in. At least they got that part right. Him floating around in his little airship. They got that right. I mean, but yeah, he really doesn't have a whole lot of screen time. But how many out of 7? How many flakes of popcorn do you give this?
With shit on top of shit and shitting on Dragon Ball Z all the way. There was nothing redeeming about this movie. The plot didn't really make sense, even with the way they established the characters. There was nothing redeeming about the screenwriting or the fucking directing about this movie. I think every one of them should be fucking thrown into a black hole. And even all these copies of this movie, digital, non-digital, physical copies, everything should be thrown into a fucking black hole and destroyed, so we cannot.
That might cost more than it took to produce.
Here's my question, Nelson. Is this worse than playing a game of Gwent?
This was more painful than playing Went. Instead, I can play Went all day rather than watching this movie again.
Oh my god!
Fuck, I'll make a career out of playing Went rather than fucking watching this movie again.
Well, all right.
So that's one movie.
Wow. Well, hopefully the next one will be a little bit better.
No next one.
No next one. No, I'm not talking about the next Dragon. I'm saying the next movie we review. Sorry. There will not be another Dragon Ball movie.
Oh, good.
All right.
I will give this 8 out of 7 flakes. It is
8 out of 7 flakes.
Yes, clearly this was it stands up there with La Talent, Citizen Kane, Vertigo. This is truly showing the boundaries and pushing the boundaries of what is possible in the cinematic arts. Only in the wrong direction.
I was gonna say, do you think people will be studying this film generations from now to know not what to do?
Yeah, as an artifact, maybe as to understand how we fell, like an alien civilization. Namekians, we'll call them.
Namekians. Well, this is how they blew themselves up. Dragon Ball Evolution.
It's like I don't really care how the nukes flew. All I know is that this movie exists, and that's enough. Yeah. This movie almost seems willfully bad. Like I was actually surprised by a moment of continuity being used correctly in the movie at one point, and that was about 2/3 the way through. I even forget what it was, but I was like, what? There's a moment of there's like a continuity detail that's actually like being applied correctly. So it's like the movie is like such a mess. It's almost like more remarkable when it actually begins to behave like a narrative that makes sense.
Yeah.
Nothing makes sense, even from the get-go. It's like the very first words from a character in the movie is, "There's only one rule. There are no rules," and that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Like immediately. Like you see CGI tears fall from Goku, and I'm already laughing in tears.
Yeah,
the CGI in this movie is so bad. Everything is so bad. It's actually, in a way, it's like kind of a delight to see just how low they're aiming. Really, really, really pushing the boundaries of bad movie making.
Yeah, it does feel like on the writing and even the directing and acting, everything, it does feel like they just said, fuck it. So, it just kind of like, it's so phoned in. Was there anything else you were wanting to say about it?
It's like so much like is happening in front of very blatant green screens.
Yeah.
Like the action everywhere. It's like they couldn't just like, and then it's like, and then like the things with Piccolo where he's just standing, like it's just a guy standing around in makeup and he's like in a field and it's like, I'm menacing. He never really gets a chance to be menacing other than a time he like Akira's Grandpa Gohan's house.
Oh yeah.
And that house is still like able to be navigated by Goku.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
they
it
kind of
is.
use it as this emotional moment, but all the shots are like kind of flat and awkward because the kid's just like, you have no idea why he's even called Goku. And yeah, and like I said, the stakes. There's like three things that are going on at once. There's like the blood moon eclipse or whatever that'll cause Goku to become Monkey Saiyan, which is just a werewolf in this. A werewolf with like mid-90s sci-fi channel CGI.
Yeah.
And then there's also the consequence of getting the Dragon Balls together at a certain point, and it's 2,000 years after Piccolo got released, and you don't really even know how he got out.
Yeah.
They don't even bother to try that, and there's just like,
Do they
there's
ever
like
explain why he wants what he wants with the Dragon Balls?
you don't. He wants to rule the earth, but he's really powerful. So why doesn't he just conquer it? I don't
Yeah.
understand that. Would he just become like an elected king in like the wish he wanted?
Yeah,
I don't.
I think my problem was because I'm a fan of the series and I know the lore of Dragon Ball, that I was just assuming that it was the same motivations as the Piccolo from the manga. But you're right.
Yeah.
It's like he doesn't. Why does he want this? Like, why does he want the Dragon Balls? What's his purpose?
Why does anyone want to rule this world?
Yeah. And what's up with the like this random tournament in the desert that they go to? Of fighters. I just.
Hey, instead of just saying like trying to come up with things to do about this movie, because like almost every scene was like very genuinely laughable.
Yeah.
I just want you to do like an AMA for me for like a few minutes about this movie.
I have a question. What was up with the monks and the prophecy that one monk like had, and that he apparently was right about and was best friends with Roshi? That came out of nowhere. You remember that, right?
He's a monk. Those are the people that have prophecies, obviously. I mean, he probably saw it in his colored sand, drawing that he was made rudely sent wind through doors to mess it up. Also, you're likely to find black monks in a Tibetan temple.
Yes.
A Tibetan temple that is on the hill of a major city somewhere in Asia, definitely not Tibet.
And Master Roshi, he wasn't living on an island in the middle of the ocean, was he?
No, he was living on an island of construction in the middle of a major metropolitan area, which I think was in the news around that time of maybe someone in China or even multiple people in China like holding out against developers, and so they just like dig around their home and hoping the absurdity of that living situation would get to them. Except that wasn't played for anything in the movie, which is a very bold decision. I'd even go so far as to call it avant-garde.
Maybe, do you think maybe they were hoping to do it for their Chinese market when they would bring the film over there?
Yeah, I'm sure that was their thinking. I think the executive producer was Stephen Chow of Kung Fu Hustle, Shaolin Soccer, and more recently The Mermaid.
So he had to, because I enjoyed Kung Fu Hustle, so he had to get a really crappy movie under his belt.
Yeah, he didn't seem like he gave it a lot of money either. I mean, this is a very low budget movie, and a lot of it probably went into the CGI and paying Chow Yun-fat whatever they wanted to pay him to mock the movie openly.
Yeah, I was gonna say I love that there was that scene where it's just like Master Roshi's supposed to be old as shit. And he's obviously not old as shit, but he's still trying to like work the, when you first see Roshi, he's like trying to pop his back and everything and trying to comedically pretend to be old, though he looks nothing like, Master Roshi.
Yeah, he's just a pervert named Roshi.
Yeah. And Another
who
thing,
happens to be good at martial arts.
another thing I was gonna say, they should have studied. Speaking of earlier, you're saying China, that story about people trying to construct around people's homes who refuse to leave in China. Dragon Ball's story is based on the Journey to the West, and
Yes.
that story is nowhere to be present in this movie, is it?
I don't know. I mean, maybe they went to a desert later. That's pretty far west for them.
Yeah.
Where is Unitech High School?
So it just
Yeah, man. What's Fuller up to? Still picking on Goku? I mean Giku.
Giku. Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot Geek. Oh my god.
Yeah, Giku.
Oh god. Yeah, that was terrible.
Yeah, it's the future because there's a holoscreen vid for public information, and the lockers require card keys.
Oh yeah.
That's how you know it's the future. And there's capsule technology. That's their only excuse for being in the future.
And also the what was I gonna say? Chi-Chi's house, I guess, because he knew that
She lives in a castle.
Yeah, she lives in a castle. That's kind of accurate, from if I remember from the original series, but it's never explained why she lives in a castle in the movie.
Yeah, she lives in a castle. She throws the tightest parties, just the tightest parties.
Yeah.
All the kids are invited except Giku. And Giku gets invited because he showed his ki. And that's all that really mattered to Chi-Chi. Just ki.
Yeah.
You know Goku's got the best ki, and she knows that. I have some questions for the universe about this movie.
Oh, really? What's your questions for the universe about this
Yeah,
movie?
why?
Why? You guys picked it. I
how?
warned you. I warned both of you about this movie, and you didn't heed my warnings.
Well, I got more out of it than Nelson did. Nelson thought this raped his childhood, like George Lucas and Steven Spielberg did Indiana Jones and South Park. but really, I think this is like an alien planet that has entered our universe, and it's like these are Dragon Ball things, right? And it's like, is this what you want? Am I Dragon Balling? Well, and it's like you're an alien species, and it's like, no, I'm not. Look, Goku. There's Ki.
Are you trying to say that these are lizard people who are trying to blend in by making a Dragon Ball movie?
Yeah, essentially. I mean, Stephen Chow, prove me wrong, man.
We're not lizard people. We like the Dragon Ball.
Yeah, they like the Dragon Ball. There's Dragon Balls in it. Shenlong appears, and he's bright, and you can't really see him.
Yeah, and he
he's
looks more like
okay.
a Western dragon, too. Which I didn't get.
Yeah, Nelson thought it'd be the Geico Gecko, but I knew better.
Oh God. Well, I'll give I give this movie 4, or not even 4. I give this movie 7. I give this
out
movie,
of 7,000.
Yeah, out of 9,000. I give this movie it's over 8,000 rotten, stinking, unpopped kernels.
I thought those things hold pretty well. Are they thousands of years old?
Well, these have been sitting here for a while, so they've gotten pretty rotten. Rotten from the lizard people.
Maybe that's how Piccolo hatched, and we just don't know.
Yeah, we just don't know. That's what I give it. This is a terrible movie. I wouldn't suggest anyone to watch it. Don't even stream it and pirate it. It's not even worth it. You could do something much better with your time. In fact, probably that old crappy was it a South Korean movie or something that did Dragon Ball? Maybe it was a Hong Kong movie. They did a Dragon Ball movie, and it was weird as crap. But that movie, in my opinion, because I saw it a long time ago, I'm trying to remember everything. That it was pretty weird. It was pretty out there. But at least that movie was trying somewhat to be like Dragon Ball. This thing is nothing like Dragon Ball. I felt like maybe they were trying to go somewhere with it, but they really never went.
It's like they actually. I have a theory about the production. It's like they aimed for the floor, the most generic level of like mass appeal.
Yeah.
And then like they somehow like discovered a new floor when they were like paving that floor. Like they didn't like have the right support. They like fell through the floor Home Alone style. And they were in the basement. It's like, whoa, what is this place? Like is it turtles all the way down? And they just kept going down. And that's this movie. It's a journey of exploration. It's not the journey to the west. It's actually the journey to the south. Like if you just think of it like a cardinal compass, and that south is all the way to hell.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. Yeah. Any last thoughts on it besides that?
Go see it.
No.
Don't take my word for it. Find out yourself, and maybe the girl from The Ring will come through your TV halfway through and save you.
I would suggest not even to watch it, guys. Don't watch it. And that concludes this review of Dragon Ball Evolution. I pray that I never have to watch that movie again. This is actually a series I hope that we get to keep doing. And we're going to start, I guess, are we going to keep it superhero themed, Blake? Or are we just going to go, do you think we'll go with just any movie?
Is Dragon Ball a superhero? I feel like it's pop culture, animation.
It's kind of pop culture. Well, I was wanting to start with, well, we'll see. But yeah, folks, we will be doing more reviews, movie reviews here soon of various films. And I hope you guys stay tuned for that. And if you enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. That way you don't miss a thing. And with that said, I hope you guys have a great night.